Hello everyone, hope you're having a good day. Welcome to this video explainer. I've put together a video to answer all the questions that you might have about this ILM Level 5 coaching program assignments. There's lots of information to share with you. This video is about 20-25 minutes long, so make yourself a cup of tea, get yourself settled in and get ready to engage with some of this. What I'm doing in this video is hoping to answer all the questions that you might have with lots of detail about the whole assignment process. I will share some information about each of the 3 assignments, but I'm not going to go into heavy detail. I will make some separate videos about each of assignments 1, 2 and 3 and each question that needs answering. But this should hopefully give you everything you need so that you have a really good understanding of how to approach this. I hope that's all right. Let's start with an overview of these assignments. So the ILM Level 5 certificate in coaching is Level 5 by off-qual standards. It's equivalent to a degree. So that means it needs to be as, if you like, as complex and sophisticated as a degree. Clearly, it doesn't need to be as much work as a 3 or 4 year degree. That's really important. But it also needs to be quite practical. So there are 3 assignments that are given. First assignment is called an essay. Technically, it's not really an essay because although there is one heading, it's broken down into 3 sections with a few questions in each section. So actually, it's more like a series of short articles. Talk a bit more about that in a moment. Assignment 2 is your coaching practice. It's those 18 hours of one-to-one coaching that you'll do and all the paperwork that will support and help you learn and grow as you're doing that coaching. And assignment 3 is when you've done your 18 hours for you to reflect on where you came from day 1 in your coaching and where you are now that you've finished your 18 hours. So it's a great opportunity to really reflect and think about your growth and your development. We look to get you completed with all of these assignments 6 months after finishing the last training day. We do give some interim deadlines so that you can keep on track, and I'll talk about them more in a moment. There is some flexibility around this, of course, especially if you have extenuating circumstances, but most people tell us that they really want a deadline. They really want a deadline to work to so that it doesn't drift and drift and drift. That's an overview. I hope that's okay, and I hope that gives you a real sense of what you've got coming up. Let's look at the timetable. We suggest it works like this. Firstly, the first assignment, the written essay or series of articles, to be done 6 weeks after the final training day. Why 6 weeks? It's because if you think about the amount of free time that you might have on average every week, a couple of hours, we don't want you to put in more than that times 6. We don't want you to write hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of study to get this assignment done. We want you to get your first draft to us 6 weeks after so that you can see how well you've already managed to do. Assignment 2, you need a bit more time because you've got 18 hours of coaching to schedule in with a few coachees, and you always need to have a few weeks gap between each coaching session. So it needs a few months. It needs those 4 months or so after the final training day to get all the coaching done. And your final assignment, assignment 3, and any other final bits and pieces you need to do from the other assignments, 6 months. 6 months after you finish the training, which will then mean if you're starting a course finishing a course in June or July, you'll be done by the end of the year and you'll have this ILM Level 5 certificate. And that's a wonderful feeling to know you can do it in a good time frame. Some encourages, don't wait till the last moment. We really encourage you for assignment 1 particularly to start doing your reading once the training has started. You'll be doing reading anyway. You'll be reading about coaching and coaching practice, and some of that will be really useful for assignment 1. So it's worth reading through the assignment 1 questions and then making a few notes when you're doing your reading, because you will pick up answers, you'll pick up ideas and thoughts that you'll be able to use in that first assignment. So carry on doing all of that reading whilst you're doing the training. Assignment 2 is a really, really, really good idea to start doing all of your reflective notes and journals and logs for assignment 2 as soon as you start coaching. The temptation is to do your coaching and then do all the paperwork later on, but it's much harder. And many coaches in training tell us that they really wish they'd have started that paperwork earlier on. So we're really advising you, if you do a coaching session on a Monday, write it up on that Monday, or certainly by the end of Tuesday or Wednesday, so that you've got that really nice and fresh. So that's an overview of the assignments and the deadlines. Let's get now into the 3 assignments with a little bit more detail. This first assignment, the one that I'm calling the essay not essay, here's the overall title of it, about the skills, principles and practice of coaching. And it does say within an organisation or context. If you don't work within an organisation, please do not worry. You will know about organisations. Your background reading will show some things about organisations. But actually, principally, what's important here is to be able to write and think about your coaching practice. So section 1 is a bit more organisation based. The rest of it is about you and your coaching skills. What you have, the 3 headings, section 1, I'll just share in a moment, word count, 4,000 words it is, but there is lots of flexibility in it. Please, if you find you've written a lot more, don't rush on and edit. You really don't have to do that. Plenty of people write it in 4,000, some people write it in 3,000, some people write it in many more, so feel flexible with that. The 3 headings are these. Heading 1, about understanding the purpose of coaching within an organisation. It's a good opportunity to define and distinguish between coaching and mentoring, but also thinking about how organisations can use coaching. So if you are working in an organisation, you'll be able to see and observe and explain that. There's a few questions in there. Section 2 is all about us as coaches. So you write about your knowledge, your skills, your behaviours. Also write about coaching models, coaching processes, supervision, reflective practice. A good opportunity to write about what you would have learned on the programme about coaching. And then assignment 3, part 3, sorry, I lost my words. Stage 3, part 3 of this assignment 1 is all about contracting, is all about setting up, having the initial bit of work that you will do with a coachee. We call it goal setting. Often in coaching it's referred to as contracting. So how that process works. So each of those 3 sections has a few questions in them, and we will give specific guidance about the sort of things that you need to write, need to put in, and what to read around it. But that hopefully gives you a sense of assignment 1. Let's look at assignment 2. Assignment 2 is all about your coaching practice. It's all about these hours of coaching that you're going to be doing during and after the training days. The ILM would like to see you do 18 hours of coaching. We suggest it's around about 18 hours, 18 single 1-hour sessions. It's probably more like 45-minute sessions, so a few more. We're not penny pinching. We're not trying to count the hours to the minute. That's not what's important. It's around about this number. We suggest you have 3 main people that you work with. 3 main coachees that you will have 3 or 4 sessions plus your initial contracting session. And then you'll have a few other people that you'll have one-off sessions with, your friends, colleagues, buddies, that type of thing. The idea is that you want to take 3 people through a whole program of a few sessions, but then also know what it's like to use coaching just for one-off sessions, because I'm sure that plenty of you will be doing that all the time in your work. We want you to not start with your 3 main coaches until we finish all those training days. That's really important, because in the second module we look at the contracting, and you need to learn how to do that well in order to start with your first coachees. So wait until we finish all the training days before you get going with those first coachees. But do start your practice. Do start having one-off sessions. We'll pair you up with someone in the course, so you'll have a buddy or you'll have friends and colleagues. Having a few one-off sessions during the training is really important. I think it helps get your skills up. I think that can make a great deal of difference. So that's an overview of assignment 2. There is paperwork, and we like to say it's useful paperwork to look at. And this is what we need you to do for this assignment 2. Firstly, for those 3 coachees, do a client diary for each, and you'll see we give you a template for those. You'll see the client diary that allows you to write about this coachee, how you started working with them, how the sessions are going, what's working well, and how you're growing as a coach, and also probably how you're different with each of those 3 coachees. We ask you to listen to recordings of your coaching sessions and fill in some slightly more detailed self-reflection forms, 3 or 4 of them. Some people do just 4, some people do 6, some people do 18. 18 is probably a bit too many, but it's good to do a few, certainly. It allows you to analyse your own coaching, see what you're doing well, and see the areas that you could improve and the areas that you continue to improve. We also ask you to do one overall brief coaching log that records each of your 18 hours of coaching with a brief observation on what you're doing well in each session and the even better is. That gives you a good chance to be able to see in one place what's going on and how your coaching is evolving. We also ask you to come along and have 3 hours of tutorials, either one-to-one or with your buddy, with any of the course tutors. It's a really good opportunity to either talk about coaching sessions that we've listened to and reviewed, or talk about your practice generally, and talk about how your practice is growing and changing. These are great opportunities to have a really good chat with us and to be able to really explore what's happening with your coaching. There's a little log to fill in there. Not a great deal of detail is needed, but it gives you a sense of what you're learning from those type of conversations. So that's all the paperwork you need to do. Everything's templated. If you open a document, see some boxes, write something in it, you would have completed that assignment. It's assignment 2. We do some assessment of your coaching. We'll be giving you lots of feedback on your coaching, either coaching sessions we see you doing in the training room or coaching recordings that you send to us. And there is a moment when we want to be able to say, great, you are coaching at the ILM Level 5 standard. We would have given you the criteria so you know the standard we're looking for. And this is how we do it. We give you a couple of different ways you can do it. You can send us a coaching recording. So we would have been doing that through the program. You'd have been sending us coaching sessions and you'll be very used to getting feedback and analysing it. The one that you want us to assess, you let us know that and we will assess that formally and be able to hopefully tell you that you've passed and you've hit that level. And it's definitely not a one-time only. That's really important. If you send one and you're not quite at the level, it'll probably be in 1 or 2 areas. We'll share a bit of feedback. We'll give you the opportunity to then carry on redoing it until you get to that level 5 standard. We've never had anyone who hasn't hit that level 5 standard. You know, some people need a couple of goes, some people need a few goes. It's absolutely fine. There is no hurry. There's often a correlation with how long it takes and how busy people are, how much time that they have to put into that. So that's the assessment of the coaching. Imagine how it will feel when you know you've had your coaching assessed and you'll be able to say proudly, you are coaching at that level 5 standard. I think that can make a really big difference. Let's move on to assignment 3. Let's think about this third assignment. You've done your assignment 2, you've done all your coaching hours, and you're ready to start bringing everything to a close. What assignment 3 asks you to do generally is to reflect on your coaching from day 1 to the end of the 18 hours. And we give you some nice documentation to do that. There's just one document, it's an answer book, but there are lots of sections to it with tables, with information that you can fill in. And people often report that it's a really joyful thing to be able to do, to go back to day 1 and to think how they've grown and evolved and developed as a coach. The idea, it is personalised, it is reflective. It's not about demonstrating to an external body, either to us or the ILM, that you're working at a standard. It's more about you learning and observing and noticing how you've grown and how you've changed. And the best time, obviously, to do this is when you've finished. It's when you've finished all of your coaching hours. And there is no word count. Some people fill in the sections with lots and lots of bullet points and lots of lists, and sometimes they use numbers. They say, well, I scored myself a 3 on my listening, I now score myself a 7 or 8. Other people elaborate a great deal. It's really up to you. We want you to write it in a way that it feels useful. There's no need to do any referencing here. Some people do because they've read something interesting in a book that they want to refer to, but you absolutely don't have to. So that's assignment 3. I've explained enough, hopefully, to give you some information about each of the 3 assignments. And if you need more detail, there'll be more videos there in your resource folder under each assignment. Take a little moment, have a little think, maybe scribble a note, and then I'll carry on. So these are the sort of questions that often come up, and I thought it'd be helpful to be able to just explain them. This is a qualification in coaching and mentoring, but you'll know we primarily focus on coaching. So question 1 in assignment 1 does ask you to define and distinguish coaching and mentoring, and there please do write about mentoring, but for the rest of the assignment you absolutely don't have to. And we don't review or monitor or assess any of your mentoring sessions. We happily support you with your mentoring, and we do cover it in the teaching, but we predominantly stick to coaching, so I hope that's okay. Big and important question: who do you choose to be your coaches? So it depends on who you are and what your role is. Often leaders in organisations, in schools, in voluntary sector organisations that we mainly work with, often will have a group of people who are their direct reports, and the temptation is to coach them. And it's absolutely fine to coach some people who directly report to you. But it's really important not to just coach those people. And it's really important to coach people when you're a bit freer. If you coach people who report to you, you're likely to have a strong view, you're likely to have an opinion, you'll know all the backstory, and it's really hard not to lead a bit. It's really hard not to drift a bit into mentoring. So it's good to coach people in your organisation, but who you're not directly responsible for. People outside of your organisation, definitely. Some brave souls like to even go outside of their sector. You know, people who work in the NHS coming and coaching teachers. People who are teachers or head teachers going and coaching in charities and so on. If you want to do that, it's great. It's a stretch, but some people find it freeing because you don't know that sector. We always will help you find coaches. And so please do ask early doors. It's really good to get your coaches lined up before we finish the training so that you're good and you're ready to go. So I'll write some more guidance, but I hope that helps as a starting point. When you start the coaching, mentioned this before, start with your substantive coaches after we finish the training days. But before that, start one-off sessions, start doing a bit of practice with course buddies and with friends and colleagues to get a few hours in there. Your coaching sessions, you will find that they will probably settle to anything between about 30 and 55 minutes, something of that nature. Often the earlier sessions are shorter, often they're 25 minutes just to get you going, but gradually you'll find that they creep up towards that 50-55 minute mark. We're not attached to how long they need to be. We do find if they're under 25 minutes, it feels like it's a bit too pacey, a bit too like solution-y, and you don't have the really good chance to explore what's coming up. So think about having a minimum of 25 minutes, but otherwise relax into the type of time frame that I've just indicated. Okay. Now, some comments about the writing for these assignments. The first thing is, I did say that the ILM Level 5 is equivalent to a degree. That's off Qual's rules, but it doesn't mean you have to appear as if you're writing degree stuff. You can write in a very everyday, a very conversational way. It doesn't at all need to sound academic. It wants to be useful for you. You want to read it and think, yeah, I would say those things. You want to be able to write it in a way that you think, well, I'd send that document to a colleague, to a friend. I'd let my friends read this because it feels like my type of words, my type of language. That's really important. And the focus here of the assignment is it does want to be practical. It's reflective. It's about you learning. It's about you growing. It's about you developing rather than you presenting evidence. You know, of course we need to market, and of course the ILM needs to assess, but it's not about presenting to this external body evidence of how well you're doing. It's much more about you showing to yourself and seeing your own learning and your own development. And I'd include that for assignments 1, 2, and 3. It's really important. You will also find within your folders that we'll be sharing with you, you will find resources. In particular, you will find sample assignment 1, 2, and 3 of people who have completed this course. Some of them are standard. grade assignments. Some of them are incredibly good, awesome, I think we've called them. Please use these resources if you want. If you think looking at someone else's assignment will be helpful and supportive, then look at them. If you find that they're going to put you right off and they're intimidating, then just ignore them. Just don't even open those folders. Just leave them to one side. We think they're a useful guide, but not for everyone. Some people really don't like looking at them. So please feel free to choose. So these are often questions that come up. If you have questions that I haven't covered, do ask. Of course, we'll be happy to help. Some essentials to do with this body, the ILM, Institute of Leadership and Management. You do get, as part of this program, registration with the ILM, and they give you 12 months membership. We tend to do it when you are partway through the course because you can access the ILM resources and it's a really useful thing to do. They've got lots of extra materials, study materials, videos and so on that you can look at to help support your assignments. There is no need to renew your membership after the 12 months run out. Your qualification will be your qualification for life. You don't have to renew it or get re-evaluated or reassessed. It's like A levels or a degree or a BTEC. It's something that when you've earned it for life, regardless of whether you stay a member of the ILM or not. Some people stay because they like the community and they like the resources and so on. Maybe 10% of people probably stay as members, and of course it's up to you. We are an official ILM centre, which means that they put us through the mill and they inspect us and they test us and they make sure that we come up to scratch in all that we do. And part of that is that we have to have many policies and procedures in place. We don't tend to share those in a OneDrive or a Dropbox or anything like that because it's quite weighty, all of that information, and it's definitely background. But we do have policies on everything, and they're of course available, and we'd be very happy to share any of those with you. So please feel free to ask, whether it is recognition of prior learning or whether it's a marking policy or a feedback policy or equal opportunities, any of those things. Of course, we have those very available for you. Something about pass grades. Now, if you've done a degree, or if you've done A levels, you'll know ABCs, or you'll know a first, upper, second, third, all of those. If you've done music exams, you'll know passes and merits and distinctions. The ILM, this adult learning body, doesn't have any of that. It's just quite simply a pass. So you could write outstanding essays. You could be the best coach in your whole community, and you will receive a pass. You could write a very average essay, but good enough to get over the line, and your coaching could be absolutely fine, but quite procedural. You'll get the same pass. That might feel a bit unfair, but no one who is recruiting coaches looks at grades, so they just don't have them. So I tell you this so that if you've put in extra effort and think that it deserves something more than a pass, to not be disappointed. You know, on your certificate it will quite simply say that you have earned this qualification. So earn it with pride, put in as much effort as you like, and know that that's the rules around pass grades. I hope that's okay. I often get asked this before people sign on. They say, has anyone failed and can you fail? There are really only two ways to fail. One is to not complete at all, you know, to not do the hours, to not have your coaching assessed, to not do the essay. If you don't do it, obviously we can't pass you. That does happen. It probably happens in about 5% of cases maximum, and generally it's to do with a life circumstance. You know, generally it's to do with a bereavement or a divorce or an illness or something of that nature, or even, you know, a work overload. For people who are in those circumstances, of course we offer extensions, of course we offer extra support. That's really important to us. But if you withdraw and don't complete, obviously that's one way of failing. The other way of failing is to plagiarize. Plagiarizing being particularly assignment one, copying someone else's assignment one and submitting it as your own work. There's a debate at the moment around whether you can use ChatGPT. Certainly writing your assignment with ChatGPT will be a form of plagiarism. So we wouldn't fail someone, but we would definitely push it back, and it will be evident if someone's written it via ChatGPT. We have had one case in 2023. But you can use ChatGPT for your research and your reading and your finding out, so it can influence your thinking. So they're the only two ways that you could fail. Your certificates will come to you some weeks, I'm afraid, some weeks after you've passed. You'll pass and we will be able to share with you that you have passed. We then tell the ILM that you've passed and they will issue a certificate, and they work different time frames, sometimes 10, 15 weeks after. It's quite a long time after you have finished. But they will send you a digital badge as well. So you'll have a paper certificate and a digital badge that you will be able to put on your LinkedIn profile, on your email footer, so that anyone you're in contact with will know you're an ILM Level 5 certified coach. It's better than walking around with it, holding it up at all times. So it's quite a nice thing to be able to do to celebrate that. And the final thing here I wanted to mention is that sometimes people ask, do we get to be able to put letters after our name? Like when you get your degree, you could put MA or BA, BSc. This qualification doesn't attract that. Becoming a member or becoming a fellow of the ILM, yes, you can put those letters up, but you don't get any post-nominal letters for getting this qualification. That might be a disappointment to some. I hope really it doesn't put you off. So that's the ILM. Last couple of bits I wanted to cover. How do we support you? I hope that if you've signed up for this course, you can see already we are very, very keen to support, and we love our coaching and we love our coaches, and we really want you to succeed, and we do everything we can to help. So in addition to all the work that we'll do together, these are some of the things. We'll give you a resources folder, so you'll have good information that you'll be able to use, assignment information, sample assignments, background reading, information that you can use when working with your coaching clients. Some people say it's a bit much, other people say it feels like you're very, very fully resourced. Everything you will need to pass this qualification is inside this folder. We do provide answer books, so within that folder, but also a paper answer book, we will provide that for you. Everything is templated, so you will be able to open documents, fill in documents, and you will then have completed the assignments. I mentioned earlier this idea of having sample assignments so that you can read and you can see what other people have written and what they did to pass. Lots of video explainers, so I'm doing this one now. There are video explainers for each of the 3 assignments, and also coming into our YouTube channel will be lots and lots and lots of video explainers about coaching skills. So lots of talking about coaching, so things that we would have covered in the training, but reviewing and trying to embed some of the learning about coaching skills. Tutorials. For this qualification, I mentioned you need to have 3 hours of tutorials, but you can have as many tutorials as you like. You can book in with me or one of the other facilitators in the program, or even facilitators who aren't on the program but whose diary is open for booking in. We just want to support you, and we're very happy to support you with tutorials whilst you're in training, whilst you're working for the qualification, but also afterwards. I quite regularly meet with people who did this course 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I met someone recently who did this course in 2015. So we're very happy to carry on talking and carry on chatting. It feels like we want you to be part of our coaching community. For your assignments, it's not like when you are at school or at university, when you hand your assignments in and then they go off to the sort of faceless marking environment. We mark all the assignments. We don't send them to the ILM, that they review them on their annual inspection. So that means we can read drafts. You might decide for assignment 1, for example, you just want to write the first couple of questions. Send it to us for reviewing, and then we can give you feedback and say, yeah, you're writing about the right amount, that's great. Or you're writing loads and loads and loads. If you wanted to reduce it, you could, or you need to put in a bit more. You'll get a bit of guidance on that. And you can go back and forth until you're happy and we're happy that this is complete. I think at the heart of the work we do together is feedback on your coaching. So we'll watch you coaching during the training days and be able to give you some feedback, but also you'll start sending us recordings of coaching sessions and we listen to them. Tend not to watch them because that's a bit private and a bit intimate, but tend to put them on audio and listen and give you some feedback notes. And what we see is that people grow and develop and start to appreciate their strengths as coaches. And we give you written feedback, minimum of 4, including the assessed one, but as many as you like. And some people, probably the average I would say is 6 or 7. Some people will send us 10 or more, and we're more than happy. Well, there's a team of 5 of us who review coaching sessions, so there's always someone available to review, and we tend to want to get them back to you within 2 weeks, so sometimes within a week, sometimes within a couple of days, so you will be able to use this feedback to help you carry on growing and developing with your coaching. And then I mentioned the final assessment, didn't I? The final assessment of your coaching. That will be the final audio that you'll send to us. That will give you the opportunity to be able to draw a line under your coaching practice and say that you have hit this level 5 standard. So I hope this has been a useful half hour. There's a lot of information I appreciate that I've shared, and I've done this so that all your questions can be answered, so that you can come back to this whenever you like, so that you can have a really good understanding of all of these elements. I'd like you now to spend a moment to really think about if you do everything that I've explained for this last half hour, what it would mean to you and where you will be. We've seen hundreds of people come through this program since 2015. And this is what happens. They are the proud owners of coaching qualifications and ILM Level 5. This is a group of school leaders in 2018 came through, and some of them actually have gone on to do second coaching qualifications. So that will be you. That will be you with pride, being able to say that you have got this ILM Level 5 coaching certificate. Hope you found this useful. This doesn't replace having one-to-one conversations, so call or email or book in for a chat, and I'll be very happy to help. Enjoy this part of the work, enjoy the study. Thank you everyone, and happy coaching.